Nope, I'll hold it.
You tried to hand it to me.
I didn't mean to. I'm like a reporter. They don't want you to touch it. You're just supposed to talk into it.
You handed it to me.
No, you're just supposed to lean in and talk into it. You don't have to lean, actually.
So it's not the talking pillow?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do we not look at the camera?
Do whatever you want.
I feel like it's easier for me to look at the camera.
Okay.
If we were sitting across from each other at a table and there was like a camera off to the side, that might be better. But the camera's like...
Well, we don't have a table.
I know. We do actually. We do have a table.
We do have a table.
Yep.
It's outside. I brought it in for Thanksgiving once, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
It's entirely possible.
Anyways, hey, hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Aspiring Adult Podcast. Today we have another potentially prolonged guest.
Potentially?
Potentially.
Seeing if I say the right stuff.
Seeing if
and
you
not
say
all the wrong stuff that I say all the time.
Exactly, you're getting it. You
Yeah.
just got here.
What?
Do you want to introduce yourself?
I thought you were introducing me, saying like, this is potentially the prolonged guest. I'm Milo. I'm Sarah's boyfriend. Yeah.
That's
Do I need a
it?
full name? What else do they need to hear?
Who are you?
I just told them. I'm Milo, Sarah's boyfriend.
Roommate, live-in chef, live-in chauffeur, physical training coach, dietitian.
The allegations are all true. Yeah. I figured we were just going to get into that though. I didn't want to self-proclaim anything.
That's the point of an introduction. Like, you're supposed to self-proclaim a lot.
There's too much. This whole podcast is a self-proclamation. That's why we're going to get into it. It's going to be an hour of me talking about myself.
Oh.
I can't possibly condense that into 30 seconds and introduce myself.
So,
By the way, before you guys take that out of context, she said the episode should be me talking about my life and introducing myself. I don't want to get that twisted.
sure,
I had
pal.
plenty of topics that were 50-50 that would go between the two of us. But she said this one should be about me. It's not funny.
Okay, yeah, for sure, for sure. So, you're my boyfriend. What is there any other like important, notable things to know about you?
I mean, where do we start?
That's kind of what I'm asking. Where are you from? I guess let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Southern California, like an hour north of San Diego. A little town called San Clemente. The only thing it's really notable for is its surf, and it's next to Camp Pendleton, the largest marine base in the world. So that's like the only two things that people know us for. Like Kelly Slater's from there. There's a bunch of songs that the Beach Boys have that have songs about our beaches. Like they mentioned Sano, Dana Point. It's all San Clemente stuff. So that's where I'm from.
Okay, so you were born in California. You grew up surfing in a surf town that the Beach Boys sang about. You lived in the Sublime House.
I did live in the Sublime House. Nobody is going to understand that unless you're from San Clemente or frighteningly into Sublime. I grew up... People are surprised that I'm from California when they look at me. I get, where are you from in Texas a lot. I got that the other day at the hardware store. I grew up in an area of San Clemente that was like very white trash. I grew up next to a secondhand furniture store. Behind me was a junkyard. Next to me was a trucking yard. Across the street was a welding and fabrication shop. There was actually a couple. And then a lot of surfboard shaping shops, an MMA studio, and then there was my house. And it was there was an apartment across the street, but my house was like the only house with like a yard and stuff like that. And the band Sublime used to play there back in the 90s, and they would throw Crazy Ragers and stuff like that. And it was like the party house in San Clemente because it was a white trash area. Nobody cared what time people were playing music until, because it wasn't a residential area. I didn't have an HOA. We always had like pieces of shit in the driveway that we were working on. Our driveway was super oil stained. It was made out of gravel. Didn't have grass.
How can you have an oil-stained driveway if your driveway's made out of gravel?
You have 3 30-year-old cars? Yeah. We didn't have grass. We had banana trees everywhere and poison bell plants. The house was...
Poison bell?
Yeah, it's like... I forget what they're called, but they're these trees and they bloom and then they have these bell-shaped flowers that smell really good, but they're super poisonous.
To humans or to animals?
To everything.
Oh.
To everything, yeah.
So like you would touch it and you would like die, or?
No, but like you shouldn't make tea out of it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's poisonous to consume.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we had a lot of stuff that you could consume. Like we had bananas, peyote, cactuses.
Peyote?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I sold it to my buddy. Sold one of them. Well, my dad did. I didn't sell it. But yeah, so the point is, it was very... You couldn't call it ghetto, but you could definitely call it white trash, and that's where I grew up.
And it's not typically what you think of when you think of Orange County.
No. Orange County, you think like plastic surgery, Lamborghinis and stuff like that. Or if you think of San Clemente, you think like the Beach Boys and Toyota 4Runners, but my house was none of that. It was punk rock music and just white trash. Yeah.
And this is all interesting, not only because that's where Milo's from, but because when I was living in California, I was only,
45 minutes.
Yeah, 45 minutes away from you.
Yeah.
And we never had our paths crossed until we moved to Colorado.
Mm-hmm. And I would go down to where she was from all the time. Like half of my friend group is from down there. And right before she moved to the ranch, I was commuting down there every week for work. I was working on NASNY, Naval Aerospace North Island. That was really cool. That was a cool experience. But yeah, so it's...
What did you do? That was such a random...
Well, I figured we were going to keep talking about how crazy it was we never crossed paths. Because I drove through there like all the time.
Yeah, I mean... I mostly just rode around on my e-bike, so
That's
unless
true.
you're gonna hit me with your giant Ford F-250 Power Stroke.
And before that, it was an equally, if not more, recognizable vehicle. It was a 2005 Ford Freestyle that I had rhino-lined green, and it was always covered in mud. I never washed it. And it had a bunch of untasteful stickers plastered all over it, so... If I cut her off in traffic, she definitely would have recognized.
I almost did get hit by a truck, even though your rhino-lined car was a car, not a truck. When I was riding my bike home from work one day, it was kind of scary. They yelled at me. I think they thought, because my office was in an office park with a school in it, and I would ride with my backpack on for work to and from the office. And I remember my first day walking to work, someone stopped me on the street and said, "You excited for school to be back in session?" It's like,
They definitely thought you were like one of those little shithead e-bikers. Yeah, fuck those kids.
it was actually kind of depressing because I had to look at him and say, "No, I'm 25 years old and walking to my job." Thanks, though. Yeah, that was very humbling. What does he think high school aged person looks like? I was also wearing a neon orange collared shirt.
I mean, you didn't exactly win best dressed in high school. We've all seen the pictures.
Okay,
Neon dressed. Neon, what was it? Neon orange polo? Is
that
what you
wasn't
said?
my choice of what to
You'd
wear.
probably wear that.
That wasn't my choice of what to
You would
wear.
have chosen to wear that in high school, though.
No, I wouldn't have. You saw
seen
what I
the
wore in
pictures.
high school.
And it was worse, which is why I'm saying orange polo shirt probably.
I was
would
well
fit
dressed
right
in
in.
high school. I was
Allegedly.
like literally.
You've probably seen the pictures. You're close.
I can't find them. I can't.
There
find
is existing pictures.
Okay, yeah, open up a J. Crew catalog from 2015, and that's exactly what I was wearing.
Yeah. But it's better that he thought you were in high school than thinking, I don't know,
I guess.
you're old.
The beef tallow must be working.
Were you
Wait,
using it
I
then?
wasn't using beef
That's
tallow.
right. Don't let it happen again. Yeah.
So our paths didn't cross in SoCal. They passed on the ranch, which, how did you even get to the ranch?
I had a friend from Instagram. I have a lot of friends from Instagram.
Which is so weird.
I've made a lot of my friends from Instagram, and we have actually met in real life.
Wait, can we pause? How old do you think that people think you are? Do a close up. Do a close up. Yeah. Okay, poll. Do we think Milo is older, the same age, or younger than me? Do, 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 do. How old are you?
I'm 22. Going on 31. Yeah, I have a lot of friends on Instagram that I've met in real life and that I haven't met. One of them actually moved to Southern California so he could be around the friend group that we made. And like the majority of my friends are probably from Instagram. Even the ones that I lived around. We were like, hey, we live around each other. We do similar things. Like, let's all meet up. And then we would just hang out on the weekends all the time. One of the friends I met on Instagram, he didn't live around me. He lived like, I don't know, 24 hours away in Houston, Texas. But he came to California one day to go to this thing called King of the Hammers, which is like a big off-road race event. And he came and hung out in San Clemente for a couple days. And shortly after that, he ended up going to the ranch. And he was like, yeah, man, you'd love it. It's amazing. He's got a southern accent. Kind of high-pitched, though. Oddly enough for the man. He looks like he could be my older brother or same-age brother since I look old for my age. He's a handlebar mustache haver. He was formerly a mullet haver. Same color hair.
His hair's blonde.
So did I say same? I meant to say similar. Similar, not too far-fetched to think that we'd be brothers. And he went to the ranch, and he referred me, and so the next season, I got a hold of the ranch, and they decided to take me on as a, whatchamacallit?
What do you want to call it?
A character hire?
The
Personality hire. Yeah. Personality hire for obvious reasons. And they needed it. What, dude?
I worked there.
You worked in corporate America before that, you know? So, personality, but different, for sure. So then I came up to the ranch. I drove up there, and I drove probably 2/3 of the way. And I stopped late at night. I was like, oh, it's right off the highway. No problem.
So you drove there from California?
Yeah, I was driving from Southern California. And like 2/3 of the way up in a town called Rifle. I was like, oh, this is right off the highway. No worries. I'll just go camping over here. And I drive like an hour off the highway. Like I was out there. I was like, dude, this is far. And I'm driving down like the fire road to get to the campsite. And I was like, this is bad. I'm gonna have to end up putting it in 4-wheel drive. Like it's pitch black out. It's like 9:30 at night. And I'm driving through like rivers, like river crossings that are like a foot deep in my truck. And I stopped for the night. And
why did you decide to stop? Why didn't you just be like, this is probably a sketchy area. I probably shouldn't stay in. I'm just gonna turn around.
I wanted to go camping. You know, I was already an hour up there. So,
sure,
you know.
yeah.
So I try to fall asleep in the bed of my truck, but it's like I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and I start hearing stuff walking around my truck. The only thing it could have been would be like a mule deer or a mountain lion. So
yeah, it's definitely a mountain lion.
Well, a mule deer probably wouldn't come close to a truck, and also there wouldn't just be one mule deer. There would probably be a couple.
Anyways.
Yeah. So that freaked me out, and I got in my cab, and I slept in my cab. I woke up the next morning, and it got to like 20 degrees that night, and diesel fuel gels over at 28 degrees.
Good to know. Good lesson to learn.
Yeah. So if you have a old diesel that's running heavy oil, probably wouldn't be wise to go that far off the beaten path. And I found that out the next morning when my truck wouldn't start. So I hiked out to the highway. I walked like a couple miles, and the only shit that was out there was cattle ranches. So there was all these bull haulers passing me by in their semi trucks. Like, what is idiot on the side of the road doing. And finally, an old Hilux Surf, which is a really esoteric vehicle. Probably no one's gonna know what that is. It looks like a 4Runner, but it's right-hand drive and it's diesel. Pulls over, and I'm like, what the hell is this thing doing out here? And it was the mail truck, because you can't just drive like a normal mail car out to these locations. You need
Why?
like a, because you need to go down like 4-wheel drive trails.
Okay.
Yeah. So they pull over and they're like, yeah, what do you need? I was like, will you give me a ride to town? And it was literally just the mail lady. Her name was Carrie. And she was like, sure, let me finish my mail run and then I'll take you into town. Like, what happened? I was like, oh, my truck won't start. It's too cold. And so I wait around for like an hour, and then the mail lady comes back and she is like, do you need anything? I was like, yeah, I gotta go get my stuff in my truck. So the mail lady lets me get in her truck with her and drives me down a 4-wheel drive trail to go get my stuff.
This is literally like Ted Bundy coded.
Yeah, I know. I'm out there, middle of nowhere, cowboy hat, flannel, jeans on, and she took the chance.
Cowboy hat, never been on a ranch before.
It's true. And she takes me down the trail, and she lets me get all my stuff, and then she drives me into town. And I was like, thank you so much. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, that was insane of you to do that, by the way. Like, I can't believe you did that. Just some random dude. And she's like, yeah, that was. My husband's not going to be happy. And then I'm in town and I'm making all these phone calls and stuff. And I got to go bring my keys back up to my truck, which is an hour away again. I was like, dude. So I go up to this huge lifted power wagon, Dodge Ram. And I knock on the window, and the window rolls down, and I just get like smoke grenaded with cigarette smoke. And it's this huge biker guy. And he's like, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, my truck is stuck. Not stuck, it's not starting up.
Well, it's stuck because you can't move
I
it.
guess, yeah. It's up in Rio Blanco. Will you give me a ride up there? And he's like, I gotta see what the old lady says. Like 30 seconds later, old lady walks out on cue, and he's like, what do you think? And she's like, we don't have anything else to do. So they drive me like an hour back up into the mountains, and they let me put my key out there. And it turns out he had worked on that trail where my truck froze over at a natural gas plant. And
What was the name of it?
what? The name of what?
Cow Poop Road or something?
Yeah, it was Cow Poop Road. You can look it up on Google Maps. And so he gives me a ride back down to a hotel, and I stay there. And then I'm like, fuck, dude, where am I going to go? Like, how am I going to get to the ranch? They're like, oh, yeah, you can get like a puddle jumper from Rifle to Hayden or get an Uber. I'm like, dude, there's no fucking Uber out here. So I'm like, I got to do what I got to do. So I get a ride from a mechanic shop. The owner of the shop gave me a ride back into town. Because I was like 15 minutes away from town. And I go to the post office. I'm like, Carrie, I need your help again. Could you take me either up to Steamboat, which is like a 3.5 hour drive, or could you maybe get me like halfway there? She's like, yeah, sure. Let me talk to my husband. And she's like, yeah, he's really not happy. I was like, I'll send my driver's license. Here's my Department of Defense contractor's license. Like, if I was going to kidnap you, probably would have done it already. But here's all my information. And she sends it all to her husband. She's like, all right, let's go. I'll take you halfway there. So she takes me to a little town called Meeker. 0 stoplight town at this point. They downsized. And there was nobody there. It was like, so I hung out in a park for a little bit and waited for the bar to open. And then when the bar opened, I like walked all my stuff in because I had like half of my belongings of my life with me. And the bartender was like, yeah, sure, you can hang out here. And so I put my stuff like up on their music stage because they didn't have music that night. And I played pool at the bar for 8 hours. And I got my ass whooped by a small Mexican dude who didn't speak any English named, oh my god, I'm blanking on what Perrito, which is a little dog in Spanish. This like 90,000-year-old Mexican dude just fucked me over in pool I don't know how many times. And then some of the locals were like, hey, what's going on with the guy in the corner and all his shit? And the bartender was like, oh, like, he's actually got a crazy story. Go, like, buy him a drink and, like, ask him why he's here. And so they did that. They didn't buy me a drink. But I just sat with them and talked to them for, like, maybe an hour and a half.
No one bought you root beer?
No one bought me a root beer. No.
That's rude.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh, yeah. And then bar's about to close, and one of the personnel from the ranch came, picked me up, and his name was KP. Shout out KP for that. And then he drove me, he drove to Meeker from the ranch, which is like 2 hours. And then he picked me up, and he drove me back up to his house, which is like an hour. So he drove 3 hours for some dude he never met, and then he let the guy stay in his guest bedroom.
After being in a bar for 8 hours.
Uh-huh, yeah. Yeah, so he let me stay in his guest. He picked me up at the bar. And,
What was the conversation like when he picked you up?
someone who's, A, tired and has no idea who the fuck I am. So he's probably not going to be able to hold a conversation with me for an hour, hour and a half, or whatever it was. So it was pretty quiet. We talked about trucks and work and surfing. Because he grew up in Hawaii. Just some random Hawaiian dude in the middle of Colorado. But yeah, so he let me stay at his house, and the next morning I got to the ranch, and everybody had heard the story of the guy who had his truck freeze over 4 hours away and had to hitchhike up to the ranch. So yeah, I was immediately bombarded with questions and people introducing themselves because I missed orientation. Not like the whole thing, because the orientation was like a week long. And but like everybody really introducing each other. So yeah, that's the story. And then I was there. I don't know.
And then you showed up to the ranch, and then what was your first day like?
I had breakfast with a bunch of fucking weirdos.
Okay.
What? Oh, you were there. I forgot.
Ugh.
Yeah, so I had breakfast.
As if you don't tell me. I remember when we first met and we sat together at
It's true.
breakfast.
That's true. No, I wanted to manufacture bickering for the viewers. Because if it was just like a verbal makeout session, no one would want to listen to this. No, but yeah, so I had breakfast, and I had it with, I still remember, Ethan, which is a guy who worked on the ranch, Matt, which is another
No
kid.
way. They all worked on the ranch? You had breakfast with people that worked on the ranch
Well, I have
at
to preface
the ranch?
it. I have to preface
That's
it.
crazy.
I have to preface it with that because if I just said Ethan, they're gonna be like, "Who's Ethan?" So
What?
a guy named Ethan, a guy named Matt.
It would be more helpful if you like shared what their titles were. Like,
Ethan was a server. Matt was a dishwasher, and then across from me sat Sarah and her friend Audrey, and then next to me was Zach, who I immediately clicked with because he shared the same role as me. We were both kid supervisors, but he was a college football player. And,
yeah, you have so much in common.
well, out of everybody at the ranch, yeah, we did. We're both personable, charismatic, explosive athletes who were kid supervisors.
So true.
Yeah, so I knew who he was. He was the only person on the ranch that I knew who they were.
How did you know who he was?
The kid supervisor, like, onboarding form online thing that we filled out. I just remember reading his and being like, this guy seems cool. So I sought him out, and then I sat with him at breakfast, and Sarah was sitting across from me. And me, Sarah, and Zach kind of carried the conversation. And yeah, that was awesome. That was a really good first day. That was a really good first breakfast. And then after breakfast, we went and I met like more of the kid supervisors and the lady who was in charge of the kid supervising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
And so then after a full summer of falling in love with me, you decided to just move out here with me? Move out to Denver with me? Become my live-in roommate / chef / chauffeur / maid.
What should we call that? Life coach? I like that. We'll call it life coach. Yeah, so I moved here. I'm Sarah's life coach now.
Okay. Not the word I would choose. Not necessarily the title I would
Slave?
choose. Not the title I would choose.
I don't know. They both apply. They both check all the boxes.
I'd say live-in maid. Live-in nanny.
Because a nanny wouldn't be doing your personal training.
Says who? Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to noodle on that.
Noodle
on that, yeah. So while we were on the ranch, how did you, of all the people that were there, you're like, I want to just spend all of my time with Sarah. How did that happen?
I think me and Sarah had a lot in common, and we were both very large, boisterous personalities.
I was wondering where that was going. We were both very large.
No, our personalities were large and overwhelming.
Oh.
And so I don't know. Out of everybody, it just seemed like we clicked the best. Not only did I think she was very pretty and fun to be around, but I don't know. We just matched. We matched each other's energy levels, you could say. Yeah, so there's a couple other people that I hung out with, but definitely like 90% was Sarah, for sure.
Yeah, I'd say like 95%.
It's possible.
Yeah. And then the other 5%, we would hang out with other people, but we would still be there.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people are like, hey, well, good luck moving up there because you don't know what it's going to be like living with someone and being around them 24/7. And I was like, kind of do. There's not like, we ate like every single meal with each other for like over 100 days straight. We worked with each other, and then we'd hang out after work. So I kind of did know what to expect. Like, yeah, we didn't live in the same exact room, and we'd have to do each other's laundry and like do the dishes and stuff like that. Well, actually, I did do the dishes, but we just didn't do like laundry and stuff like that. But I would always cook meals and stuff. So we kind of did have a pretty good bearing of how it was going to be moving in together, I would say.
Yeah, and then we spent 3 weeks living with each other. 1 week living in a tent.
Yep.
Another week living in California.
Mm-hmm.
And then another week living in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So I think we had like somewhat of a decent idea what it would be like. Obviously, there's some things that moving in, I don't know, like we have a lot surface level. We have a lot of the same values / ideals. So most of our hobbies are the same. So most of the equipment that we have laying around the house is the same. Except you have a crash pad, I have skis.
Yeah.
That's equipment.
That's really right. And then our gym bags, but those are just bags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all of our Western stuff, like hats and whatnot. But just hats and boots. You don't act like you don't have two pairs of boots. Act like it.
4.
Cowboy boots. Anyways, and then we eat a lot of the same sort of stuff.
Yep.
You like cooking. I like baking. I don't mind cooking. I've been cooking a lot more than I thought I would, given that you're my live-in chef.
Yeah, before I moved in with Sarah, I would strictly pretty much as far as meat goes, I would only eat beef. No chicken, no pork, no fish. So lately we've been eating a lot of pork and chicken. So I haven't.
It's cheap.
Yeah. Well, so is ground beef.
Ground turkey's cheaper.
That's gross though.
It's good. I like ground turkey. I was thinking about
ground beef, as far as like weight for price goes, I would say is much better than turkey.
Sure.
So yeah, I haven't been doing the dinners, but I do the breakfasts and when she feels like it, and the lunches, and then past couple days not dinner, but before that it was dinner. Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like it's also been pretty easy because you've only been here for 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
I mean, what's gonna start happening after 2 weeks?
I don't know, we get sick of each other.
After the 120 days in a row we spent together doing everything.
What do you think that people struggle with living with a roommate? What I've struggled with in the past with living with roommates is...
They're not fun.
No.
They don't make good food.
We didn't cook for each other. That was the weird thing about my first apartment. There was 4 of us and never once did we all make a meal together.
That is strange.
Very weird. Yeah, so we all were like independent individuals living in the same house.
You guys have different work schedules?
Nope.
Yeah, that's weird.
It was weird. But yeah, so we never did anything together and everything was very independent, very segmented. And it was also weird because like you wouldn't just come home and find people hanging out in the living room.
Yeah. Weird.
You would have to go to people's rooms to find them, which is fine.
Were they on their phone a lot?
Not as much, like, not more than the next guy, you know? Like, it's just, I don't know. I also feel like I didn't really spend that much time at home when I was living in Boston.
I feel like your roommates didn't share that much. They weren't that close.
No.
Because, like, I lived with people on the ranch. I have lived with my parents, obviously, and then I've lived with my friends for work, and when we do something, we all do something. When we make food, we're all making food. Someone might go upstairs and nap or something like that, but we go get them and be like, hey, we made food for you. So I feel like that situation was also just like you're not very close with your roommates.
Yeah, that's true. And then when I moved to the ranch, maybe girls are just different. And I think that they are. Obviously they are.
Yeah.
But I think that girls just don't have the same camaraderie as boys do.
Yeah.
And I want to say... I want to retract that statement. I think that girls do have camaraderie like boys do, and at times it can be better, but it takes a while to foster those relationships. Because I can't just walk up to another girl in the gym and just be like, hey, you seem cool, do you want to hang out? Like, that's just not...
I never do that.
You did that yesterday.
You're right, I did that yesterday.
That is just not something that girls do.
Yeah, I didn't open with that, though. I opened with, can you spot me? And then I saw that he had cauliflower ears. And then I asked him about his cauliflower ears. Because I don't have cauliflower ears, but I wrestled for 7 years. And I did MMA for like 5. I wish I had cauliflower ears. So yeah, we talked about that. And then we were just like, hey, you're really cool. We should go to the gym sometime. And then he's like,
while you're at the gym. We should go to the gym sometime while you're at the gym.
We're doing 2 separate things. We can't combine the workout. You know what I mean?
You could have if you really liked each other.
No. Anyways. Yeah, and then I told him I was looking for work, and he's like, well, what are you looking for? And he worked at a wood mill shop, which is something I have a decent amount of experience in. Not necessarily a wood mill shop, but doing the same things a wood mill shop does, but you build it at the site and install it. Just finished carpentry. So, yeah, we talked about that, and he said he would look into it for me. Hasn't responded.
Some friend, yeah. But I feel like there was nothing that I was really taken back with when you moved in. I feel like I already knew your living habits. I feel like if anything, you had to change how you live to be here. Because I make you make the bed every day.
I make my bed every morning anyways.
No, you don't.
Yes, I did.
When we were in California, you never did.
Yeah, because we get up at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to get in that thing in 7 hours.
Right.
Or if we did get up early, we would come home for like a interim nap. Or, yeah.
Or how about when you were living on the ranch and you just like wouldn't put your sheets back on your bed and would just put your comforter back down and put a t-shirt over your pillow?
So I was in a bunkhouse. I would get back late sometimes, and I didn't want to wake my roommates up by rustling around, fucking fighting my bed sheets to get on. Then you got to turn the light on, and they're like, "Hey, dude, you can't have the light on." We had a light sleeper in the bunkhouse, and also just a rude thing to do. And it was hot, so I didn't need sheets. I didn't need a comforter. So I would bring the sheets up there, just leave them in the laundry basket until the morning. But I would just throw the comforter on, throw a t-shirt over the pillow, fall asleep on top of that. It was scorching hot in a bunkhouse. Heat rises, you know what I mean?
Thanks for that lesson.
Yeah,
Bill
no
Nye.
worries. No worries. Unreal.
But yeah, no, I think that I had an idea of what your living situation was going to be like. It'll be interesting to see how things go.
What do you mean?
Like, it's only been 2 weeks.
I still don't get...
What's going to change after 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't know. We'll see. That's what I'm saying. We'll see. You're probably going to get tired of me popping your pimples?
Of stuff. I'm already tired of that. But yeah.
You're tired of me popping your pimples?
Extremely, yeah.
Why?
I feel like it's a violation.
Of what?
No means no, okay, guys? And don't let anyone ever tell you differently. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. No matter who. Nothing to say for yourself. No public apology. No, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that after you say, hey, stop 3 times.
Well, when you say stop the first time, I just assume that you mean like stop squeezing it like that.
Nope, I mean stop. Yep.
Well, the pimples aren't going to pop themselves.
They don't need to be popping.
Yes, they do.
Most of the time, you just keep washing your face, you'll leave them alone. Because if you pop them, then you got this big fucking bleeding orifice in your face. And then it has to scab over and heal. Whereas if you just wash it and let it take its natural course, it might not be as satisfying, but it will go away.
Okay, but who has clearer skin, me or you?
Who's got makeup on right now?
I have one pimple that I had popped, and now it's a scab, and it's healing. That's the only makeup that I have on over my pimples.
Over your pimples in plural. So you're admitting that there's multiple pimples, but you just said that you have one pimple. You want to clear that up for the audience?
Okay, Harvey Specter, calm down.
Just point it out. You said it. I didn't say anything.
All I'm saying is that my skin is clear, and there's a reason for that.
I don't think it's that much. I think we got equally clear skin going on. I think we're both very attractive humans. It might be marginally clearer.
I'm not saying that it's
but I don't have
exclusive.
to go through. Oops! I don't have to go through pain. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's mutually exclusive to have acne and be attractive.
I think it helps with being attractive. But anyways, there are things that it's not mutually exclusive, but there are things that if you don't have them, it helps you be attractive. Like if you get a big nose that looks like you could fucking sniff out coke better than a police dog.
I happen to think that when people have over-exaggerated features,
Something went wrong?
it can look very attractive.
It can if they got other things that make them look attractive.
Like, you have big buggy eyes in those glasses.
I do. I almost said something. I got small eyes underneath the glasses, though. Beady little peepers.
Let's see them. You do.
Yeah, I know.
They're like little rabbit eyes.
The glasses make me look so much more distinguished and intellectual than I do right now. I look like I'd run through a wall without the glasses. I look like I could run through a wall with the glasses too, but it looked like I'd be concerned about running through the wall. Right now, it just looks like I would just run through it for a chicken bake.
You would. I've seen you without glasses like a million times.
You've never noticed?
I've never noticed how tiny your eyes are. You know, like little stuffed animals that have like the little button eyes that are super tiny and they're just kind of like black dots.
Yeah.
That's what yours
Isn't that funny? You made fun of me for having big beady eyes, and now you're saying I have small eyes?
Small beady eyes.
You need to dig your heels in on some of these subjects right now. You're flip-flopping a lot.
Well, as soon as you revealed yourself,
I don't know. How many
you're
times
pulling
have
a masked singer on me.
How many times have I revealed myself?
Not enough.
We live together. I take my glasses off every day.
And normally when I have my contacts out, so I can't see.
You can wear your contacts in the water, right?
No, you can't.
You can't?
I'm just kidding. You
Yeah,
can.
what the fuck? Yeah. I should mention the gentleman from Houston, Texas that I brought up earlier. His brand is Psycho Cowboys. Got some really cool, esoteric, distasteful stickers. Go get some.
We're sponsored by Psycho Cowboy.
Would be nice.
Use.
I already am.
What's his Etsy shop?
I think
Is it
it's Psycho
Psycho Cowboy?
Cowboys.
Use promo code Milo on Psycho Cowboys.
He doesn't know what a promo code is.
You just say, I know Milo. Can you please send me stickers?
No, but if you include I know Milo in the order, he might send you extra.
Any other Milo lore that you want to share for today?
I'm hungry.
That's not really lore.
I had the mullet before it was cool. I cut it 2.5 years ago. I've had it for 5, trendsetter, and then I cut it halfway through. So imagine if I had the full length, I'd be full mermaid status right now.
When do you think you'll cut it next? When do you think you'll cut the handlebar mustache?
I would rather cut the mullet than the handlebar mustache.
Is it just because I hate it so
fucking
much?
No, it's because I look weird without a mustache. I look like way too boyish to be on. My face looks too boyish without the mustache to be on the rest of me, whether it's my personality or my body. It looks weird.
I think if you got rid of the school shooter glasses,
Not school shooter glasses.
wireframe glasses are most definitely the distinguished school shooter or serial killer.
Nope. All
glasses.
the previous school shooters have not had glasses.
Let's go with pedophile.
Maybe so, but pedophiles are a little bit more lengthy, slippery critters. I'm not a lengthy or slippery critter.
Have you ever seen Silence of the Lambs?
Mm-mm.
He wasn't slippery looking.
No.
No, Hannibal Lecter.
I get
That movie was
comparisons that I like.
Comparisons that you like.
Yeah.
People say Morgan Wallen. I've never been able
Don't
to see
say that to me. I'll put your head through a fucking window.
Okay, can you chill out?
No, I can't. It's a horrible comparison. He's ugly and makes horrible music.
He shaved his head, I think.
He did shave his head, so I stopped getting that. No, I get ones that I like though.
What about ones you don't like?
That and Dahmer. Dahmer didn't have a mullet. Dahmer had blonde hair, and he was a tall, skinny guy. Also, I think he had, instead of like the 2 wires, I think he just had the 1 set of wires. Yeah. Almost got in a bar fight over someone calling me Dahmer.
It's funny to me how often you're at bars considering you don't drink.
Yeah, stone cold sober, stone cold incel.
Yeah, I feel like that's some Milo lore to share.
What?
That you're just sober. Do 2 truths and a lie.
I haven't done that in a long time, and I forgot what my good one is, and I
don't think you have good ones.
I can't use it now that you told everybody that I was stone cold sober. I think my 2 truths and a lie was I've never drank in my entire life. I have pet possums and /or I can drink a Coors 6-pack and run a 6-minute mile. And most people would guess the never drinking one is the lie.
Never drinking. I've never drinking. Anything else that you want to know, that you want to share, that you want to maybe give out to the world? Maybe give me a free pimple pop?
No.
No to all of it or no to the last thing?
Definitely no to the last thing I'm thinking about, though. Yeah. Nope, that's it.
All right.
There's a lot of unexpanded lore for the next time I'm on. I'm sure you heard a lot of stuff that you're questioning. So come back to the next episode to hear it. What?
Give us a taste of what we're going to get on your next episode.
That's why you got, what do you mean, give them a taste? This episode was a taste. You got to come back for the rest of it. I just said that. You're supposed to know how marketing works. You know, if you got a hamburger joint, someone orders a hamburger and goes, that was a good hamburger, but you have a lot of other good options on the menu. You don't go, oh, do you want a slice of this hamburger? You go, you can either order it or you can come back next time. Ordering it, unfortunately, isn't an option right now, but you can come back next time and get that cheeseburger that you didn't get.
All right, so thanks for watching this week's episode of the Aspiring Adult Podcast featuring Milo X Croton.
Milo X Croton from Instagram.
As referred to by all of his other friends.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Bye.